Hello and welcome to the Canada Show, a YouTube series that by all appearances will soon have the same budget as the CBC. Today's topic, a world so dangerous we only have money for bombs. There's Vikings attacking us from the north, Huns from the east, Turks from the south, and barbarians from the west. The average life expectancy is 38... I'm sorry, that wasn't quite right. A right-wing regime has taken over Europe and pulled it and the entire world with it into a global war. Thousands of people are dying. Actually, the world is less violent than it's ever been. And it's apparently also getting more democratic. Still though, I bet you can't even remember the last time you drove to work and you didn't see someone get stabbed in the street. Actually, that's not quite right either. In Canada, crime is at the lowest point it's been since the early 1990s. Right, terrorism. Phew, I was worried there for a moment this segment was going nowhere. So let's see how many Canadians have died to domestic terrorism in, let's say, the last decade? Actually, it appears to be less than a handful. Maybe we could save more Canadians by building deer fences, but let's dive bomb right into it. ISIS is spreading rampant destruction and terror all across the Middle East. They now control more than 50% of Syria, for decades considered one of the most stable Arab nations. While it's hard to say what would cause such a massive change, we should squash, exterminate, and bomb into obliteration every single contributing factor. You know, really get the root of the problem. Speaking of roots, leading up to the Syrian crisis and ISIS invading, Syria had a multi-year drought, which destroyed up to 60% of their farms and 85% of livestock. This displaced up to 1.5 million Syrians, in addition to the 1.5 million Iraqi refugees they had just taken in. The severity of the drought, according to scientists, you know those people we used to have in Canada, was the cause of climate change. These lying sons of bitches in their lavish labs and rich research stations also say that between 150,000 and 300,000 people die because of climate change each year. We'd like to take this moment to promote this week's sponsor, our brand new book, Malice Physicists. Do you suspect someone of science? This book will help you confirm their demonic practice, as well as providing guidelines on how to prosecute them. Finally, according to NASA, we have more CO2 in our atmosphere than ever before. This means we're seeing more and more extreme weather events, such as the drought in Syria. And Syria isn't the only place where this is happening. Mongolia also had a severe drought this summer, which wiped out up to 80% of their wheat, ahead of what is promising to be one of the most severe winters in years. Similarly, North America's west coast, after months of drought in areas such as Vancouver and California, which frankly has made us worried about our pot supply, is in for an El Nino this winter so big that it makes Nicki Minaj's butt look small. I guess it is a very dangerous world after all, and we should definitely bomb the countries responsible for creating a social climate that makes countries such as Syria vulnerable to civil war and terrorist groups such as ISIS. Oh wait, if we want to bomb the developed country that's doing least about climate change, that's Canada. Now, because it's going to be difficult for some of you to accept that climate change can contribute to events such as the one in Syria, we bring you this.
My world is fire and blood.
Syria is killing for water.
The water wars have begun.
Water wars. 80% of livestock has died.